The face of numerous challenges, finding solutions can seem overwhelming. However, dialogue offers a powerful tool for building understanding, trust, and also promoting peaceful conflict resolution. By encouraging inclusivity, compromise, and reconciliation, dialogue can help Nigeria overcome its current obstacles. Recently, President Bola Tinubu has emphasized the importance of dialogue in seeking solutions to the nation's challenges. By embracing dialogue, Nigerians can work together towards a more peaceful, prosperous, and united nation. Well, joining us now from our Abuja studio is Abdurrahman Musa Ododo, founder and president of the Initiative for the Discovery of Nigerian Heritage and Endowment, and also the project coordinator of the National Policy Dialogue. Let's dive into this conversation and also explore the potential of dialogue in driving nation building and also addressing some of the nation's challenges. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Immense thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, let's hope you can hear me. A lot has happened in the Nigerian polity over the past few weeks, and some persons in reaction to the president's statement say to an extent there has really been no strategic form of communication with the people to inform them on some of the major strides made by this government. Some were actually very surprised how much effort has been made by this government in the past few months. Well, I think we will have to, reconnect with Abdurrahman Musa Ododo, who is the founder and president of the initiative. Both Theophilus, some of the questions that we wanted to, talk to the guest about is about the need for dialogue, why dialogue is key. I mean, dialogue is a two-way thing, and if the other party do not try to reach out, as the president has also try to reach out in most cases. This situation will always remain the same. I'm hoping we have Abdurrahman Musa back. Thank you for joining us. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Good morning. Greetings without home, lady. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, like I said earlier, I said a lot has happened in the Nigerian polity over the past few weeks. And so many persons were shocked about the giant strides made by this administration, especially some of those reeled out by the president during his speech. Some will say this is as a result of a lack of a strategic form of communication with the people. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, basically, communication is very key in governance because the people, if you want to carry people along in everything that you are doing, you must communicate, and you must communicate strategically. No matter how it is, people must believe in a cause, unite on that purpose, have a consensus on where they want to go, how they want to get there, and when as a people. So communication is very key. So going forward, I will enjoin that this government, that there must be communication. If you're doing something, it's another thing doing it, but how do you communicate? Because people have to go along with what you're telling them, and they have to see that you are doing it accordingly. So communication is very key.
In talking about communication, is the president not communicating enough to Nigerians, and in what form do you think this sort of communication should take?
Yeah, communication, that is why communication needs to be very strategic. What I mean is that, what are you communicating? Before you conceive, and that is how policy works, before you conceive, before people can key into the policy, they must understand that policy. So it's not just coming out and the policy, the people have to own it. So meaning that from the conceptualization of a policy, the people must be there. Part of that conceptualization, then implementation, the people must be there. Then so that you can have the monitoring and evaluation of that policy must be communicated too. So it has to be a communication through level of communication has to be very seamless so that the people can own what the government is doing.
Does this stop corruption at different levels?
Come again, please.
Will this stop corruption at different levels?
Of course, it can stop corruption at different levels because when people own what is it, when people own anything that, when a policy, when people own that which government is communicating or what government is doing, they will be able to monitor it themselves because the president cannot be everywhere, or rather the ministers cannot be everywhere. But when the citizen own it, and that is the citizen power, they will be able to monitor all that's supposed to do. And there's going to be a feedback that there's supposed to be so in the community. We are not seeing that, and this is what government has already communicated. We know, and they are part of it. They will monitor and make sure that that there is the project or whatever the government is doing see the light of the day.
Also,
so
I would like you
corruption.
to, absolutely, I hear you. I would like for you to, also expatiate more on what you mean by strategic communications, because while some say the president has not communicated enough, some persons say he has actually communicated, but they really have not gotten the effect of some of these policies on the average Nigerian. We also understand that dialogue should be a two-way thing, but in this situation, would we say that the president has not really communicated with the other party?
Yeah, basically, if let me speak to the situation and so that we can get our viewers can understand.
Context, I understand.
When yes. So especially the last communication that the president made is a very key. Dialogue is the way to go, and of course, dialogue is two-way. So the first, I want us to understand how it works, so that I want to place it in historical context, so that our viewers can understand why dialogue is the one. The president, in his last communication, in response to the protest, he has communicated nobly, and that is the way to go. There's nothing, because no matter how you go to war, no matter how, there must be the last resolution is that there must be a dialogue, and it has become since the evolution of any society, since the creation of human being, and you have a society, there had been dialogue all the way. And let us look at it from the world view, this dialogue. Then we'll now zero it to Nigeria, since we're looking at our country, Nigeria now. For every 250 years, nature has a way of nature engenders a universal awakening of a new consciousness for every 250 years. I'm looking at the world view now. You can see what is happening is all over the world. Nature has a way of engendering a new universal consciousness, and that consciousness will cause a global shift of order. The social order, the political order, and economic order. And that is what we are facing as a people. You must understand the times that you are. If you don't understand the times that you are, you will not be able to respond to that time. Time is the most significant, it's one of the most significant and the most important phenomenon of the space that we live in this world, in this vast universe. You must understand what time says. You must possess the spirit and the transcendent wisdom to discern time. What says the time now in Nigeria? What is the time saying? Nigeria is at the pinnacle of the most significant evolutionary transition. The people that can discern time will tell you that there is no historical antecedent. That is why you see people will say that we have never been so divided like this. So meaning that in every evolution of a society, that is how it goes. So Nigeria is at its own now, and at this echelon, that is when orders are created. So what we need to do, and is a power, and it always go with the power. Just like I said, 250 years. Nobody living on earth now. I mean, it's still living that is up to 250 years. So meaning that it's the power of the collective. The power. How the leadership of that society be able to harness the wisdom and the power of that collective is very, very key to anything that we are doing, because that is what is going to take the order of the day. So the dialogue is very, very key. And let me zero up to Nigeria. You see, for you to alter the course of history for any society, there must be dialogue. It had happened before during our founding fathers, and it's there in our founding documents. Permit me let's look at the Declaration of Independence. I think this one will let's go back to history. The Nigerian first Prime Minister, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, said, and I quote, "Today's ceremony marks the culmination of a process which began 15 years ago and has now reached a happy and successful conclusion. It is with justifiable pride that we claim the achievement of our independence to be unparalleled in the annals of history." He went further to say that this great country, which has now emerged without bitterness or bloodshed. Let me quickly corroborate that with his fellow compatriot, the great Zig of Africa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. His reaction to the first coup held 15 January 1966. He said, and I quote, "Violence has never been an instrument used by us as Nigerian founding fathers to solve political problems. In the British tradition, we talked the colonial office into accepting our challenges for the demerit and merit of our case for self-government. After 6 constitutional conferences in 1953, 1954, 1957, 1958, 1959, 1960, Great Britain considered to us the right to assert our political independence from October 1st, 1960. None of the political party ever adopted violence means to gain our political freedom, and we are happy to claim that not a drop of the British or Nigerian blood was shed in the course of our national struggle for our place in the sun. This great entity, Nigeria, was bettered on the foundation of peace." Then you now wonder, why are we going this way? The great men, they exploit that you can see. They negotiated. They had. I still listen to Papa Nnamdi Azikiwe when he was some few months before he passed on. His interview, he said he was telling the anchor that we said we are going to have Nigeria, that no British will not shoot us, and we are not going to shoot the British. They said, how? He said it's going to be dialogue. He said it's going to be dialogue. So dialogue had been the way to go. There's no way any other society can go, especially when you want to alter the course of history. Just like I said, Nigeria is at the pinnacle of that now. This is when new orders are created, and Nigeria must create a new nation. There must be a conscious creation of a new nation. Great and unified nations do not happen by historical accident. It's never a happenstance. They are a product of a conscious statecraft. So we must dialogue now and see.
So you're talking about the fact that there's a new order. You know that before we say Jack Robinson, the new administration has come into place. We have an election and all of that. We've had successive governments who do not follow through policies. Do you think we can sustain that?
Yes, please come again. I didn't get your question.
Now, we have a situation whereby when a new government comes in, they hardly follow through policies of the past administration. And this administration has always harped on the need for dialogue. It had dialogue with several groups so far, and they've come to an amicable conclusion. But do you think that over the years coming, can we sustain that form, this form of dialogue, such that we can jaw and not war?
Yeah, of course we can. There's no, you see, in the evolution of a society, there's no way you can rule out. Is a continuous. Society are progressing, so that is how it is. If you don't know where you're coming from, you will never know where you're headed. So it's always very pertinent to look at where you're coming from, so that can tell you where you are headed as a people. Just like I said, there's no leader. If you like, bring an angel to come and govern Nigeria, it will be. I had lived over 50 years being in Nigeria now, and I knew since my childhood. You see, let's even look at the last 3. Everybody said, Goodluck Jonathan presidency was not good. The next time when Buhari come, they said, no. Now we are saying, Buhari government is better than this. Meaning that we are faced with fundamental challenges, and fundamental challenges of life cannot be solved with the same state of consciousness and knowledge level that created them. So meaning that we must begin to exploit the inner dimension of our intelligence. Yes, that is how it is. We must harness the collective wisdom and energy of the Nigerian people. So that is it. So that towards a collective effort to build that Nigeria that we all hope to see. It is not a matter of leader. A leader can, yes, the box stopped on the leader, but the box must be resolved before it goes to the leader's table, because there's no one leader. There's no one leader, and we have been doing this mistake since. There's no one leader. Every time we look on a leader, No. There's no one leader that can do it. So So that is why any leadership that is very, very wise, that has wisdom, will open the dialogue space, will open the policy space so that there can be new entrants of people. There are profound policy thinkers, philosophers, gifted thinkers in our midst. In my own organization, we have done over 30 years research work that can help Nigeria. And that is why I wrote to, immediately Mr. President said there's dialogue. We wrote to Mr. President that we are open. We are open, that we are ready to back all what Mr. President is doing with our research that we had done for over 30 years. These are research work that is scientifically and systemically proven all over the world. Because it is knowledge. You need superior knowledge for what we need. New knowledge. You need new knowledge for what we are confronted in economy, in establishing a new social order. We need new knowledge. We need profound policy thinkers. Philosophers of our time, they are there in our midst. So they need to come into.
If we say we need new knowledge. Earlier we talked about education and the number of out-of-school children. How do we gain those new knowledge when we have people who are leading us with old thinking?
I love this question, and that is it. The old order, you see, the old order is dying. Permit me to put it this way: the old Nigeria is dying. What I mean by Nigeria is that the old thinking is dying. Just like I love the way you put it. New old knowledge is dying. There is no way. There must be a new Nigeria. And what I mean by new Nigeria is new Nigerians. People that are coming. People that you say a nation. The human person is the nation. You can have a geographical area. Yes, country. You can have a country. But Nigeria is a nation waiting to be born. And for us to birth that new Nigeria, there must be a new thinking. And there are people that have that card. And that is why dialogue is necessary. Because there must be a Nigeria before anybody can head Nigeria. There must be a Nigeria before anybody that says, I am a president or any leadership position you have to take in Nigeria. There must be a Nigeria now. So how do we create a new Nigeria? Nations are created. Great nations, just like I said before, great and unified nations do not happen by historical accident. It is never happens. They are product of a conscious statecraft. That is why exceptional people that had transformed their society positively and altered the course of history for their generation had combined wisdom and power in the practice of statecraft. People have occupied the position of leadership since 1960. But where are we today? We are still at the downfall. Look at what they say Nigeria. A lot of statistics, negatives about Nigeria. So meaning that what? It is not power. It is not power per se that governs the society. It is not power. Go and look at all civilization. It is not power. It is wisdom. Profound. It is wisdom. Transcendent wisdom. It is wisdom that gives meaning and direction to power. So we must bring wisdom to power, as it were now. And where no one has it all. Just like I'm talking about, let me say something about that 50 years, 250 years in the circle of humanity that I'm talking about, so that we can get a glimpse of what I'm talking about now. In that 250 years, it has completed its 8th now. That is 2,000 years. That's 250 round of 8 years. I'm putting this in a contextual world level so that we can understand, because Nigeria is not living out of the world. We are living in the world, so that we can understand our own responsibility about what we need to do. That it is 250 now. See, the new dawn now, the new universal consciousness that is raising now will sweep even a whole civilization away. You can see the world civilization is going down. This is not the apex. This is not the true way of how humanity is supposed to live. What is our responsibility as a people of Nigeria? Nature, of course, nature. God is the one that uses nature. Nature has brought about the greatest concentration of through the instrumentalities of British imperialism. God has brought together the greatest concentration of blacks on the surface of the earth. There is a purpose for that. The purpose is to birth a new civilization for humanity, and that is why nature has brought us together, so that we can understand ourselves and give to the world what is expected of us. And that is why it is. Nations are created. If you do not consciously create one, you can never build anyone. People talk about nation building. And I ask myself, over 30 years, I had been meditating upon this great entity, Nigeria. Why are we like this? In my meditation, I came to the realization that nations are created. If you do not consciously create one, you can never build any. This is an eternal universal principle that is applicable to all nations on earth. This is a law of nation. This is a law of nature.
All right. So
we must, at the junction that we are, we must consciously create a nation that we really want. There must be a new Nigeria. Please permit me to define that new Nigeria so that we're not talking about another new country. No, nations are created. This is a definition, this is an inspired definition of a new Nigeria that we had been advocating in my organization. We said new Nigeria is a conscious creation of a new nation with a clear and well-defined unifying purpose, established by eternal principle and driven by lofty ideas. Nations are created. If you do not create one, you can never build one. So it is now we must create that nation that we wanted as a people.
I mean, we have to actually be clear on this statement that you have made as regards a new Nigeria, so others don't, misunderstand what you are trying to say. However, this situation has also, sort of pushed out the governors to the forefront on why dialogue cannot take place even at the state level. We understand that we run a federal system of government, which, well, in theory, should have, the state governors actually remitting to the center and not getting from the center. So perhaps in this dialogue situation, how would the state governors actually come in? And perhaps if they had been more proactive, this situation would not have gotten to this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. And it's a leadership problem in all levels. That will be, with all due respect, not every one of them. There are people that have the love of Nigeria at heart and are trying to do, but majority are just zero. With all due respect, just like I said, you see, since 1962, let me put it in historical perspective. It's good to know where you're coming from. If you don't know where you're coming from, you never know where you're headed. Since 1962, Nigerians had been advocating for, the central policy of government had been how to diversify or how to transform economy or how to diversify economy from the primary resource to resources that can have a world that can compete with the global world. What happened to that? You see, let me tell you what really what the true meaning of economic diversification is. The true meaning of economic diversification is that simple, so that the viewers can understand. You see, there is a population. There is a time that the population of a society. You can see when we started as a people say Nigerian economy is the one. We have the granite pyramid. We have the granite pyramid. We have cocoa going in the west. But there will be a time in a society, in the evolution of a society, that what you have in your subsurface, that is what they call primary resource. What you have in your subsurface, look at now, even the crude oil that we have, we cannot sustain us again. Anything that you have in your subsurface will not be able to sustain you again. Meaning that you must activate the secondary level of your economy. What is secondary level? Meaning that people must start looking inward now. Because the greatest of all is the Nigeria that we want to see will be great, not because of, I studied petroleum engineering, and I came to realize that it is not what you have in your subsurface that make a country or a nation great. It is what you have in your subconscious mind. It is the human person that is a nation. How we develop from the within out, that is how nature is. That is how we're going to develop. I'm saying it in answering your question that the people that we have in level of leadership are not thinking. It is the level of your thinking. It is the level of thinking that determines how developed you are. And that is why we must check our leadership recruitment in all levels. It is that there's no time now for our nation. People cannot, just like I said, it's raising a new consciousness. Look at what we witnessed in that protest. Those ones that the processors are talking about are just offshoots of what is happening. It's a deep-rooted fundamental problem. And our leadership should be looking, if the governors of all the states are thinking, even with the constitution that we have, that of course they will claim that there are things that you cannot do because the constitution limited them. But what are they doing with what they have in their surrounding? They are not thinking. With all due respect, let me put it that way. And I'm talking about real thinking. That's why I say there are profound policy thinkers. Thinkers, philosopher. What is philosophy? Philosophy almost just simply means lover of Sophia, lover of wisdom. Is a Greek word, meaning that wisdom. That's why I said we must bring wisdom to power. I'm telling you, there is no way we can do. There must be. We must begin think. We must bring about new thinking, superior. If we need to manifest the great and unparalleled destiny that nature, that God has endowed on Nigeria, and it's within us.
Okay, so what's now, in all of this, what's now the place of the young people?
or you just hit the nail. The place of the young people, let me tell you, a society is an admixture of the young. You cannot, every time people talk about young people, I said there cannot be old without the young. Nigeria is a very, very, any society, let's use Nigeria, that is the society we're looking at. I mean, that's our nation. Look at now. Look at the crop of people in the government now. They are old. So meaning that it is the old that lay the foundation for the new. It is always the old that lays the foundation for the. There's no how the young people. That's why anything young people are doing, it does not have the backing of the old. Yes, we have the strength. The young people have the strength. They have the energy to go, but they have to go with the guidance of the old. So it has to be an admission of the old and young. But the new people. You see, let me still go back to history again. I'm a student of history. I'm a conscious student of nature. So, and I've learned through nature will teach you history, even though the one that you have not born before. Let me tell you the last three revolutions that happened. This 250 years cycle of a new order that used to sweep the world. 1777 to 1798. If you look at within those 2 centuries, you have 3 revolutions. American Revolution, French Revolution, Industrial Revolution. And that is when the year of enlightenment, they call the year of enlightenment, recrescendo in the Europe. They call it the year of enlightenment. That is why I tell you that it is an enlightenment. It's a new enlightenment. It was a new enlightenment that caused that revolution. And that is what is happening now. So what the young people need to do is that you see now we're in the beginning of fourth industrial revolution now. And within 1777 and 1798 that are just quoted now. I mean that are just mentioned now. There is the beginning of that is the beginning of industrial revolution. So we are in the fourth industrial revolution now. So there is nothing you can tell the people of the new, or especially the younger one now, if you are not bringing them up to that which they understand. They don't want to know anything. All they want they are very, very smart. If you see, if it's especially all the Gen Z and these new ones coming, they are very, very smart people. They don't want to. Their energy is a very, very volatile energy. It's very flow. The energy flow. They are all in all levels of their senses. So we must bring the old must understand that they are content with this new form of enlightenment, a new form of energy now, and that is why we need to sit down. It must be a synergy of the old and the new. We must sit down and start talking about how we can consciously create that Nigeria, that dream that we all hope to see.
Mm. Well, there is a saying that even if you have clothes as old as the aged, you obviously cannot have rags as old as them. And so some analysts have actually said that perhaps the reason for this recent agitation is the fact that this administration is really focusing on the long-term effect, the long-term goals, and not just the short-term initiatives that will be put in place. How possible is it now that we're talking about dialogue, for the president to navigate between decisive action, which will benefit the nation, and also, satisfying the people in the long run?
Yes, that is basically what we're talking about. Dialogue. You see, in formulating, there are different levels in formulation of a policy. If you want a policy to work, people must own it, and that is where we started from. Communication, and that is why in our organization, the National Policy Dialogue, we have great thinkers there. Is that there are many other organizations that the government can leverage on to see before in formulating, to see, bring people together to formulate a policy, and then see it through, pass through all level of the strata of the society, and the people will own it. In short, the implementation of any policy is that people own it, they become them. That is how it is. There is absolutely no way, just like I said, yes, if you bring an angel now, it can never lead this Nigeria aright. Why? Because there's absolutely no way you can foster a society with a fragmented and divergent allegiance. There's no way a people can cultivate aspiration, incubate vision, and nurture a dream to fruition without commonality of purpose. There must be a commonality of purpose. A people must believe in a cause, unite on that purpose, have a consensus on where they want to go, how they want to get there, and when, as a people. That is how, that is the key for any policy to work. That is it. You cannot bother put any policy in anybody. They will not own it. And this cuts across even the security we're facing as a people. You can see how if you harness the wisdom and energy of people, you will see until a collective effort, you will see how everything in the society goes seamlessly. I'm telling you, so there's no way. There must be this dialogue. There's no way. We must have a conversation. There is no time for this. There is no better time than in short. The only thing that the president said in that speech and that goes for him is that there must be, and I don't want him to go, with all due respect, Mr. President, I hope that this interview will go, your aides and you, I want you to listen to this interview, and I'm calling you with all due respect and profound, with all humility and profound respect, that you said there's going to be a dialogue. See it through. Constitute dialogue that in the various levels. Bring people together. Bring people that will help you look at anything that you any policy you are bringing, especially when you want to confront a fundamental problem. We are faced with fundamental challenges of life, and I repeat again, fundamental challenges of life cannot be solved with the same set of consciousness and knowledge level that created them. Meaning that we must begin to explore the inner dimension of our intelligence as a people that we are. They are good, they are real people, good people that have the love of this. For over 30 years of my life, I had been about this. But how do you have a nation? How do you have a nation? How do you have a great nation that we dream about? So that everybody can, so that we can manifest the great and unparalleled destiny of Nigeria.
From what you're saying, are you saying that the president's plan or action so far as regards dialoguing with certain groups and individuals in the nation has not been forthcoming?
No, of course, I don't know. I don't know, but the president has already called on it. And I asked people said, I listened to some people say, how do you do about, no. I said, no, that is always a problem. Don't expect the president. When the president said there is going to be a dialogue, I told you, immediately, because that is what, for over 10 years, our organization has been advocating for dialogue, that there must be dialogue. We quickly latched on this. We wrote to the Mr. President, we had submitted it. We have submitted to Mr. President that we are ready, because it's for the love of our country, we are ready for over 30 years of our research work. In fact, I have in my connection, in my network, we have over 100 and over 4 at my last one, over 450 great thinkers, professors, great gifted thinkers in my network. And some of them have done 40 years conclusive research on alternative development concept. We have done alternative development concept because it must be just like intellectual revolution. If you do not harness it with intellectual revolution, what you see is a physical revolution, and we cannot, and we are done for that. So, Mr. President should open up the dialogue place. We are coming with new thinking to help the Mr. President to see whatever he wants to do as a people, so that because destiny has placed Mr. President on this very, 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 very. I mean, history has placed him, and history is going to ask him that whatever he do, whatever he do, history is going to place him on that. Whatever action and inaction he did, and he is occupying the most. He should lead this dialogue, Mr. President. With all due respect, he should lead this dialogue and call in people and call on great minds, and let's see how to consciously create. Just like I said, that my sister, the other anchor was asking that we need to be careful about what we're talking about now. We're not talking about having another country. We are saying that, you see, let me tell you, please, permit me to go inside, how it is. Every generation in the society must discover its own mission. Every generation in a society must discover its own mission. They either fulfill it or betray it. The generation of our great founding father founded an independent, gifted to us an independent country for us, an independent country. The greatest call and responsibility of this generation is to consciously create a nation out of this country. Nations are created. Let me repeat it again. Nations are created. If you do not consciously create one, you can never build any. This is a universal eternal principles.
Mm. And so many persons have also raised the issue of how this election process will go through amidst calls for a new constitution. Well, you have said that you are ready to join the dialogue process, but also there are questions as regards how this dialogue table and all will reflect the heterogeneous nature of Nigerians. And so it's not just a dialogue between parties that do not really reflect the interest of Nigerians. But that's a fine place to leave the conversation today. Abdurrahman Musa Ododo, the founder and president of the Initiative for Discovery of Nigerian Heritage and Endowments, and also the project coordinator of the National Policy for Dialogue. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Immense thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right.